send me something that you'd like to address on the meeting today, just let me know at the time. I'll do a call for announcements, and then if you have anything to share, you can share it then.
Yeah, just a heads up that I think we are doing bi-weekly, so we provided updates last week. So, but then before there is no new updates though from my end. We'll have to put them down.
Awesome. All right. So, a couple of announcements. I saw that BDIP to update the mandate of the governance department was shared in Ops, I think by 0xBear. So I've included a link in our meeting notes here on Notion. So see the forum for more info, review, and comment. I think they're very much interested in hearing from the DAO on what the DAO thinks the governance department should be up to. So your perspectives and your voice are always welcome. I just want to touch base really quickly on the Relief Support Fund that Ray is running. Ray, do you have any updates on that this week? Ray, if you're talking, you are muted, but if you're not, that's okay too. All right, we'll come back to that. I think Ray is either away or having some mic troubles. Another reminder, please connect your wallet to Sobel. It helps with payment, transactions, accounting, everything is in one place now. And you get ThriveCoin rewards if you connect your wallet to Sobel. So if you haven't done so already, please connect it. And if you have any trouble, drop a line in the cartography workstream, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you out. All right. As I mentioned before, I know Thompson shared that he's only doing updates bi-weekly, which is great. I know that we are also only doing workstream updates bi-weekly, but I like to give an opportunity for folks to share anything that they want to share with the group on the weekly call. Again, these don't have to be updates from your workstream. It's just any announceable that you want to share with folks verbally. So here's your chance. If you have anything to share with folks here, please let us know. And if not, we'll move on. You said Notion workstream, right, Ernest? Awesome. Cool, thank you. Perfect. Very cool. Okay. Yeah, definitely check that out. I will do so after the call because I am not up on that. So thanks for sharing that, Ernest. Any other announcements?
Yeah, I have one or two. First of all, in the DAO cartography workstream, as you know, we started using other space badges to define a role. And then when people request their badges, if they fulfill their part to get the role, we just accept the badge, confirm it, and then the bots do the rest. You get mapped, you get your role, and it's quite like we are on the way to making this automatic, more automatic, with maybe less bots. Yeah. So
Awesome.
hopefully that's one. And the second thing is, we had a fundraising for Turkish disaster relief efforts with great help from Jenga Jojo and Bear from 1inch community. They are also in I think in governance. So with their help, we opened a ask donation from them, and they donated 100,000 USDC to two NGOs, let me say, or one fund and the other one is NGO. So 50K to Bankless DAO fund and 50K to the Anka Relief Fund. So
Wow.
I think we will be able to help a lot of people now, and that's very happy.
So Bankless is managing 50,000. That's what you said.
Yeah,
And then who's the other one?
it's Anka Relief, and we are actually talking, and we are kind of we are doing a lot of things together. So it's like they're kind of bigger. Like there's Cello, some I don't know what they do, coins and stuff.
Mhm.
So they have the CEO of, I think, Cello in their multi-sig and stuff. I think they get 50 ETH from Vitalik also. So they're I don't know, they are somehow popular.
Wow. Very cool. Those are awesome updates, Ray. Especially the one. So it was the 1inch community that
Yeah,
provided this donation.
yeah, 1inch now, 1inch community.
Wow, that's amazing.
On car. It's not on car, but that's fine.
How do you say it, or how do you spell it?
Anka.
Oh, okay.
Like the bird,
Never
I
heard of
think
that.
it's like phoenix.
Interesting.
The one that Dumbledore has.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's Phoenix. That's what I know
Yeah,
about.
that like reborn from the ashes and stuff. Like it has meaning. It's cool.
That's cool. Awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm really happy to hear that the folks who have been affected by this are getting some support. I know you've said in the past that there's a lot of difficulty, especially with the government there. So I'm happy that you've been able to coordinate some
Yeah,
support.
we are looking into ways to that. How can we surpass that issue with the government? Because if we can drop down fiat, it's fine. But if I want to drop down fiat right now with the system we have, I have to off ramp it to my personal bank account and then send it to wherever. So there is some trust issue. Like it's not fully trustless. But I found some people from Germany, airdrop, and what they do is they are the first NGO that officially can accept crypto in Germany. So they accept the crypto donations, off ramp it to euros, and send the. They only work with German NGOs until we're talking, and we are sending some documents to them, so their lawyers will see if we can integrate Turkish NGOs too. So we are trying to surpass that issue with some collaborations and stuff. We will see.
Amazing. That's super cool. What was that organization called again? That NGO?
Aid drop. Aid,
Okay.
like airdrop, but it's aid. Yeah,
Aid drop.
yeah. Euros. Yeah, okay.
I'm not really sure what to say about it, but I'll just leave it in like that. That's
Yeah,
pretty
I'm
cool.
also learning these like all new things to me too.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks for those updates, Ray. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share?
No, I think that's all.
All right. Any
Ah,
other updates?
sorry.
What?
Are we doing the role updates? I can also give some info about our financials.
Yeah, might as well. Since you weren't here last week, I think we're like Thompson said, we're going to do it every 2 weeks. But I think if you weren't here 1 week, then just do it whenever you are.
Okay, so it's quite easy actually. We have uh 400,000 bank right now, and I think our ask should be coming. We paid quite a lot of $550,000 of payments this month. All the roles and like DAO cartography. So basically, we had some calculation issues, I think. So we already see 550K surplus for the next season. So we asked a little bit more than we needed.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's probably fine. I know there was some concern by the grants committee that they didn't want to pay guilds or departments that have a surplus, like an existing surplus. So I didn't follow that. Like I just didn't have the bandwidth, so I don't know where that's at. But it sounds like they're paying out,
Last I
or
heard, it was case by case,
case by case. Oh, okay.
but it sounds like
Cool,
they're
thanks.
paying out.
Interesting.
Yeah, we actually somehow started it, but well, it's been paid out. Someone from the main treasury need to do something, and we are waiting for that.
Okay. Interesting. So you're saying that we have currently 400K bank in the multi-sig, and we will be receiving the what is it,
Six
7 request?
636,070 something 635,000. So estimated rollover will be around 1 million for the next season. So yeah, there was a little bit probably. I know I forgot to drop the like when we stopped paying for Coordinape. I forgot to drop them from the liabilities, and it had some avalanche effect.
Well, I mean, if we consider this a risk to be holding this much bank in
We
the
can
option
always
multi-sig,
send back.
yeah, we can always send it back. I personally don't see a risk because we're like our multi-sig is sound,
Yeah,
but
I would say we can inform GC about this, but like, yeah, okay, I'm informed. Like,
okay. Do you want to inform them, or did you mean you have informed them already?
yeah, no, I didn't. I'm just talking here, so I can just let them know
Okay.
that this is here.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and if they maybe just tag me and I'll take part in the conversation as necessary, and if they want us to send some back, we can discuss.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Thanks, Ray. Any other
Okay.
announcements? All right. That's cool. If there's no other announcements, if you think of anything, just interrupt me. I have no problem. And we can come back to this. So typically, we have lots to discuss but for many reasons, being the start of the season and then East Denver happened, things are fairly quiet, which I think is good. Means work is happening as it should, and I don't think it's representative of any issues, which is great. But I did want to take an opportunity in light of some of the efforts of the governance department to revisit the idea of an ops department mandate for the operations department. Do we have one? And if so, what is it? And if we don't have one, should we? Just wanted to open the floor. No rush to express yourself, but I think achieving cohesion on something like this is important. There have been some, largely I think folks are happy with the ops department. There was one person who didn't, the term abject failure was used as part of the ops department, their success. So, but I think that's an isolated case. But regardless, I think, it's worth us revisiting the idea of a mandate so that if there are criticisms or questions or concerns about what ops is doing and how they're doing it, and if that should change, we at least have something to look or to direct them to and to sort of fall back on. And a mandate, and this would be a self-imposed mandate, which is much better than I think, in my opinion, is much better than a mandate imposed by the DAO. So this is our opportunity to sort of define it for ourselves formally. So with that, I will leave it to folks to share their opinion. What do we have a mandate? If so, what is it? And if not, what should it be?
Well, so I just wanted to suggest, so another way to kind of phrase a similar question, and maybe it's just helpful to answer it first, is describing things in domains of decision making instead of describing things in authority to mandate, right? In sociocracy, we would describe, okay, what's the domain of decision making that we're allowed to make as ops department that's essentially granted to us by the DAO. It may be just flat out decisions, or it may be like decisions that need guided discussion. Maybe we're always doing temp checks to make our decisions in the forums, but we make these decisions. This is the place to make those decisions. And that's why we don't make marketing decisions, right? For the Twitter handles. We don't, we're not managing the accounting and treasury for the DAO because that's in the domain of the treasury department. And so if we know our domain of decision making and what decisions we make, first is just understanding what decisions we should be making that DAO members expect us to make. Sometimes they may expect us to make decisions, but we've never volunteered to make those decisions. So then the question goes back to the DAO, like, DAO members, what domain does this decision making process or fall into place?
Yeah, I appreciate that distinction. I think it's important to. My use of the term mandate was based on someone else. I can't remember who else used it, but I recognize that it's borrowed from the legacy world and maybe isn't. It's one of those things that that I specifically in this case just sort of adopted from what I know to exist. And I agree, Ernest, that it's important to look at things differently. So I appreciate that sort of nuanced perspective, because it does, I agree that we are. I think it's a better way to approach our existence as a department under domains of decision making, as as opposed to some formal mandate.
The types of tools that we use or trial, maybe, or the general functioning of the structure of the DAO and the seasonal cycle as the Constitution defines it.
Thanks, Ernest. I appreciate that. I do have the chat open, and I'll transcribe whatever is shared in the chat into the Notion minutes here.
Asking it via this question is really, it gets you thinking. It's difficult to answer it this way, but I think you get more concrete, more like legitimate results.
Mm-hmm.
The big things.
Yeah, I agree. As opposed to like, well, this is your responsibility. Like you
What are some things we could control?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. And I think that, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I I don't think so. I mean, there's no. Well, I mean, I don't think there has ever been a working relationship between ops and OSEC, but I know like a formal one. But I know Brian has like worked with them quite extensively around some Discord issues. So maybe they are part of ops, but I don't know. Brian, do you have any thoughts on that?
I definitely think they see themselves as an entirely separate operation. Yeah, we work together constantly. We're just pretty nonstop bouncing things off of each other. Yeah. Security stuff generally, you mean? Yeah. They just spun up independently.
So thinking about these things in terms of, and I mean, this is just, I'll just take a step back. This is just some initial thoughts. I don't expect us to have a mandate or I don't know, maybe we'll call it domain of decision making uh, by the end of the call today, but something at least to start, and I can start building something out in Notion, and maybe we can work on it async, and I'll bring it up in future calls as well. So in light of, sorry, I think I'm in the wrong. There, I had the wrong channel open. Oops. Sorry, I realized people are talking in the co-working room and I had something else entirely open. All right, so Mikhail, DAO's constitution is what we make sure as follows as policy. Yeah, that makes sense, Mikhail. But I would say that's like an overarching set of like a rules of engagement. Whereas within those parameters, the operations department has its purview. Yeah, that's interesting perspective, Ernest. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that is we've defined ourselves largely in the context of tooling. I don't think that we need limit ourselves in that respect. And this is sort of the this is the natural progression of some questions that I've been asking over the last few weeks. I know not a lot of folks have been here, but you know, I've been thinking a lot about what ops is, what purpose do we serve, and yeah, like for sure, tooling is one of those. But what else? What else do we do? What else can we offer? I mean, we have a very broad skill set. There are things that we can. There are areas of decision making. I'm sure that we can take on for the DAO. But I'm curious what people think those are. Mm-hmm. What would you define as an infrastructure, Ernest?
So if we're looking at, let's say we were an agricultural cooperative, what we would share would be QuickBooks, right? So instead of each farm having to run their own QuickBooks, our cooperative would provide us with, a business or enterprise version of QuickBooks. We might also, instead of all having our own delivery vehicles, the cooperative would own the vehicles that delivers, and picks up food from the markets and the people that are buying that food. And so we're not a brick and mortar cooperative, but there's the online infrastructure that's used no matter what organizational unit you are in the DAO. And you know, Bright Dash, Notion. So to me, there's tools. There's some tools that folks don't know about because they may not be devs or they may not be, admins to some of these tools. But to me, that core infrastructure that any member or any organizational unit needs is what we maintain. That's that's the community center. It's the farm. It's you know, it's the detailing shop and, you know, design work, you know, especially the core infrastructure for work. You know, anything that's, you know, I would almost not necessarily prioritize, you know, but like the more I have access to power, you know, the more work I can do. The more I have internet service that I'm not paying by the minute for, that's gaming speeds, the more work I can do. So whatever tools allow you to do, you know, folks to do more work, to do more collaborations, to store information that everybody can share. To me, those are the, you know, some of those have yearly fees paid in stable coins. Some of those, you know, private bankless nation citizens or, you know, like a Discord server owner, you know, so.
Yeah, that's a helpful analogy. And I can see how we, like the very obvious areas of decision making are the tools or services that the DAO uses. And I've just said in the notes here, the infrastructure being the set of tools or services the DAO needs to function and achieve its mission. So there's very clear ones that we've established already, like cartography, Discord, Notion, and so on. I see that Bear shared updating the Constitution, and I'm interested to hear a little bit more about that. I see the Ops Department as playing a role in facilitating that, but I don't know that we would be the gatekeeper.
Yeah, the current
I see.
process
So
is right. Iced Cool is the one basically responsible for doing the pull request. There is a form that needs to be filled out. So, but essentially, whoever authors a proposal to change or modify the Constitution, those authors, as long as they use the templates provided to them, they can then, if that proposal's passed, they can then fill out the form and hopefully we can spread out that process, you know, to people other than just Ice Cool so that somehow, you know, but we need, you know, operations can be helpful in like helping us define that process and figuring out what kind of security is involved with updating, doing the git pull. I don't even know what the process is um, from an admin perspective. Um, the governance work stream is happy to take that over once it understands it and for the domain of that, you know, but it would still be ops department's responsibility to make sure GitHub works, you know, make sure Seshbot or, you know, help Governator maybe work, you know, manage the, you know, I don't know what the admin is on the ETH domain or Snapshot. So currently those are all kind of like operations, you know, it's just kind of fell, yeah, close enough.
yep,
That's the
for
current
sure.
state.
And this is Bear here. I can also comment on how this had actually happened. So the Constitution actually mandates Ops Department to take care of these things. But we have like 3 proposals already up on snapshots and passed, but nothing was happening there. So it was me and iSchool who made this pull request to put it everything there. So it just links iSchool and James W. Montgomery who have the access to do these things. So the question will be like, is Ops interested in making a new work stream which is supposed to manage these things and get everything sorted after something passes the snapshot and do this pull request, or do you want to defer it to some other organization?
Well, I think if ops is mandated in the Constitution, then we would necessarily
Sure, sure. And I have like made these comments a couple of times in the Discord channel, and there were in like huge response. And links basically said that everything can be mandated in the constitution, but if ops isn't consulted, then we cannot necessarily do anything. So there is like a new forum proposal out there where it calls the community on how they want to do these things.
I'm interested to see where the Constitution mandates the Ops Department, because I'm looking at the Constitution now and there's only one mention of operations, and that is the Grants Committee. Like it's under the Grants Committee in the context of managing their own operations. So maybe I don't know, maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. If you can point it out to me, Bear, it's not that I don't believe you, it's just I've missed it and I feel like it's probably for a good reason.
Can you control F ops guild on the constitution and something will come up?
Okay, maybe I'm looking at an old version.
So what we basically just need a process for updating the admins, it sounds like, to admins who want to be active in catching proposals when they've passed in snapshot and been up, once the form is uploaded, once somebody fills out the form, they should be doing the pull requests. If the admins on there aren't doing the pull requests with the folks that, yeah. But if we replace, currently, we're responsible for doing it. But if we can replace the admins, and then after Bears BDIP, if it passes, then that work stream would just kind of transfer over to the governance work stream. But at least there would be active people, ready to catch those pull requests. To my understanding, there's pull requests that have been submitted that just haven't been pulled.
All right. I'll pull a link. Obviously I can't find it right now. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to use GitHub, but I see Z-Fi is also saying that we have been mandated to update the handbook.
Yeah, I just did a Control F. I searched the page for ops, and that's the one that came up. Ops Guild is referenced, and it just says it's in the snapshot vote section, and it says if the passing proposal is a BDIP, Ops Guild will be prompted to update the Constitution and Community Handbook source in version control, and a new version of the handbook will be made available to the community. So that's the process that Ice Cool's been doing. But the Constitution pretty clearly says the Ops Guild should do it.
Yeah, and the prompt is that the authors or the people that author the snapshot, essentially once they fill out that form, that prompt should be there to just automatically do the pull request. But I also don't know how GitHub works. But that's my understanding, is that there is a form and it's on backlog.
So I think, we got a little bit off topic from the original conversation, but I think it has been very, very helpful. I found it, thanks Z5 for pointing it out. For some reason, my Control F wasn't working properly. But yeah, we definitely need to create a work stream to handle this. I think that there should be all under one roof. Sorry, go ahead, Ernest.
Well, and then in the governance work stream, so we have a Kanban that is tracking draft proposals even before they hit forum in departments. So the last thing that we need to do is just identify this final how do we, get people, to actually do the pull request, and then this will be a really solid process in a Kanban with like 10, 12 steps. Um, so if we can figure this out and, get the current pull request pulled, and then um, next season have the work stream elsewhere, it's just going to be so much friction removed. But this is the only thing that
Remove.
none of us in governance know how to do is this pull request.
Okay. So it sounds like there are some decisions to be made around the like understanding the administrative processes that take place, including the pull requests. So maybe that's an opportunity for a guest appearance by Ice Cool next week on our weekly meeting, or I can just reach out to him and figure this out myself. But yeah, this has been super helpful. Before we continue, I'm curious if there are any folks here, ops regulars who want to help build out this work stream to support the administration and update of the handbook, the Constitution.
And I'll drop a link to our Kanban. If you just, if folks want to take a look at this Kanban, this view is specifically just for BDIPs. Also creating a, a view that's for non-BDIPs. So, you know, any help, um, and I haven't gone through the whole forums yet to make sure that everything that's in the forum is in the Kanban. But each week I find a couple more proposals that aren't in there and that are kind of like held up in the forums. Nobody knows what's going on. So that's something else we're looking at in the governance department, is that we can actually monitor things. Ops shouldn't be there to just monitor proposals and people's, comments on stuff. Like if ops needs to execute an operation, it should just get notified. Um, but in the governance work stream, we can actually take the time to monitor things. We can, to the extent possible, by attending weekly syncs, we can learn of proposals that are coming in within the ops department, and then we can start tracking them, before they ever hit the forum.
That would be great. I try to attend the governance calls on Mondays, but I have a standing fiat call at that time, so I don't often get a chance to come along. But that's very helpful. So okay, so I'm going to take this away. I'll contact Ice Cool and figure out the process so that we can start building a work stream within ops, given it has been mandated in that sense. Yeah, and then we can revisit. And I just wanted to, given we're about 10 minutes out, I think this has been a great exercise. I'll probably create another section in Notion, and we can build on this in subsequent calls and async in terms of the ops decision making purview. But I did want to give some time to Bear's question about what we plan to do with the collab token allocation. And this isn't, so Bear, this isn't something that we've discussed in any length. So, I think this is a good opportunity for folks here to share ideas if you have them, or ask questions like what is the collab token if you're not familiar.
why would it necessarily fall on ops? Maybe would be my first question. Why wouldn't that maybe be under the purview of governance or grants committee or something like that?
The thing
Very
the
good
thing
question.
is that Collab wants to know what we want to do with the tokens in order for us to get them. We're not just getting airdrop tokens,
Right.
right? So anybody who wants Collab tokens to find a utility for them within your organizational unit, we need to collect it from everywhere. If we can come back with like, here's the 30 different things we can do in our DAO with Collab tokens, and maybe it's just a few people, we're kind of, I think, I don't know where, I'm assuming it's DAO stewards leading the actual proposal. So any ideas that folks have, I would assume, you bring them to DAO stewards and then they'll make sure it gets into the proposal. I'm about 80% positive that that's what I would do anyways.
Yeah, let me give you a TLDR on this proposal.
Nice.
So Collabland actually made an airdrop for the top 100 communities which have used Collabland platform in the past couple of years, and we are like one of those top 100 communities, and there is like 700k tokens which we can claim. And I have like underlined some basic structure on how this should be distributed, and it was like in the forums from on February 25th, and 1st of March was like the last day to submit the proposal to Collabland. So I have submitted the following structure where 50% will be going to the community incentives, 30% to the treasury, and 10% will be allocated to the ops department, as you guys were like the stewards on keeping this tool healthy and make sure that everything was actually in place. So the other further step will be like we have to decide on how you guys are going to use these tokens, or are you going to donate it back to the treasury, distribute among yourselves, or potentially even lock it up for like 1 year as the others are planning to do, like the treasury and DAO stewards who is also getting an allocation.
Okay. So I think so. You need an answer by the 10th, right?
Yep, 10th is the day which we will be getting the tokens, and we have to give like a solid info on Collabland how the lockup might look like and all.
I'll just say
Okay, sounds good.
if ops wants to give any collab tokens to education department to use in our education courses, we would happily accept those.
Yeah, +1.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this will probably require a little bit more structured conversation in a short time frame. So I'll put something together in ops governance and then flag it for folks to review. And I imagine it'll just be a sesh poll to figure out what we're gonna do. And folks can add their own ideas, including share some with the education department and so on. Does that sound like a reasonable course of action for folks here?
Sounds good to me. I had a question for Bear real quick. I see the post on the forum that says the proposal's already been submitted to Collabland. Do you have a link to that or a reference point? I'd like to see
Yeah, you have to be a Collabland DAO member to get that info. So if you join Collabland Discord and have like the DAO pass, you will to this proposal.
Oh, okay. I knew they had the previous rounds made public already, so I didn't know if ours was public or not.
Yep, ours is public.
Okay.
And I'm super sorry that I'm like late on time to give you guys a earlier on this collab claim process.
I'm so glad you did. I thought we still had like, I don't know why. I thought we still had like a couple months for
Same.
this decision. I know the claiming of the tokens is also in a couple months, and I probably just associated the two deadlines with being the same. So I'm happy you moved forward with it, and yeah, and maybe it looks like the DAO itself will get some collab tokens. So maybe the education department can just kind of plead to the treasury or whoever's getting the 50%.
Yeah, I think those. I was just going to ask about the allocation for community incentives, and maybe that would be a good source for the education department. But yeah, I have to run. Like I have a hard stop in 4 minutes, so I'm gonna leave it at that for now. I think folks can continue to discuss if you need to, and then I'll action that commitment in ops governance hopefully later today, so we have lots of time to discuss. All right, and yeah, thanks, Bear. I appreciate you coming on and making it so that we can't ignore it because it's important. So thank you, and no worries about the short notice. All right, folks, I have to run. Again, feel free to continue the conversation, and we'll talk to you next week, if not before.
Thanks, everybody.